Susan Boyle's story serves as a powerful reminder that appearances can be deceiving. When she initially appeared on the Britain's Got Talent stage in 2009, her unconventional looks prompted laughter from the audience. However, she quickly proved everyone wrong with her extraordinary voice, propelling her to unprecedented success. Boyle's rise to fame was meteoric, propelled by her stunning rendition of I Dreamed a Dream from Les Misérables. Her debut album soared to #1 on charts on both sides of the Atlantic. She performed for Queen Elizabeth II multiple times and earned 2 Grammy Award nominations. With over 25 million records sold, Boyle's success was undeniable. However, behind the glitz and glamour, Boyle faced her fair share of struggles. From heartbreaking losses and very public breakdowns to health issues and family conflicts, the singer's journey has been far from easy. Here's a glimpse into the challenging moments of her life. Susan Boyle spent the first 51 years of her life believing she had brain damage due to a lack of oxygen at birth. However, in 2013, doctors discovered she actually has Asperger's, a form of autism spectrum disorder. In an interview with The Guardian a year later, Boyle expressed relief at the new diagnosis, stating that it provided her with a clearer understanding of herself. She mentioned that individuals on the autism spectrum may face anxiety in everyday situations and struggle with social behaviors and communication. Seeking a second opinion from a specialist in Scotland, Boyle hoped that being neurodiverse wouldn't directly impact her life, but could lead to greater acceptance from others. She believed that with a better understanding of her condition, people would treat her more kindly. Boyle's revelation about her true diagnosis brought a sense of relief and understanding to her life. She had spent years feeling misunderstood and struggling with social interactions, but now she had a clearer understanding of why she faced these challenges. With this new knowledge, she hoped for greater acceptance and kindness from others, as she believed that people would be more understanding of her condition and the difficulties she faced. The response from the audience towards Susan Boyle's entrance on the stage of Britain's Got Talent was harsh, but it was not unfamiliar to the singer. In an interview with The Mirror following the release of her debut studio album, I Dreamed a Dream, Boyle revealed that she had been a target of bullying from both her classmates and teachers during her upbringing. She recounted instances of being physically punished by teachers who lacked understanding of her learning disabilities, which she believes had a detrimental effect on her education. Boyle expressed feeling left behind in school due to her slower learning pace compared to others, attributing it to a system that prioritized speed over individual needs. Apart from the corporal punishment she endured at school, Boyle also faced bullying from her peers, making her school years the most challenging period of her life. She emphasized the feeling of powerlessness that comes with being bullied and not knowing how to overcome it. Boyle found solace in her success, viewing it as a form of retribution against those who had mistreated her in the past. In her own words to the Daily Mail, the song You'll See from her debut album served as a way for her to reclaim power from her former tormentors. Susan Boyle, besides receiving an incorrect brain damage diagnosis, was accurately diagnosed with epilepsy at a young age. In a 2011 interview with the Daily Mail, the renowned Britain's Got Talent performer shared that she experienced seizures regularly during her school days, providing her childhood tormentors with more reasons to bully her. Boyle mentioned that her parents struggled to handle the condition, which has also impacted celebrities like Sir Elton John, Lil Wayne, and Neil Young. She expressed, "I was sheltered and overly protected." She continued, "My parents believed they were doing the right thing. They labeled me as touchy. I used to faint frequently at school. It's a topic I've never discussed before." The singer also criticized the medical community for lacking sufficient knowledge about the brain disorder, which can manifest in various physical and sometimes psychological symptoms. She remarked, "Celebrities are not immune to such conditions. Throughout my childhood, people claimed that epilepsy was linked to mental capabilities. Now I understand that's not the case. I faced numerous obstacles. It was a challenging journey." In 2016, Susan Boyle disclosed another shocking detail about her childhood in West Lothian, Scotland. She was frequently subjected to physical abuse by her father. The Britain's Got Talent star shared with the Daily Mail that her late father, Patrick Boyle, a former miner, would often unleash his anger on her during her early years. Boyle also mentioned that it took her a considerable amount of time to overcome the trauma she endured. "I carried this burden for many years, and when he was on his deathbed, I had to release it," she expressed. "One must come to terms with it, that's maturity. It's not simple, but one must release it and embrace a new self. That's what I've been concentrating on in the last 6 months. It's challenging. I have a mix of pleasant and unpleasant memories. I've been grappling with it." Corroborating the account, a family friend informed the publication that Patrick, whom Susan still regarded as a decent man despite the mistreatment, had been deeply impacted by his military service. Indeed, her father was stern, they remarked. It stemmed from his time in the military. Susan Boyle's story is marked by a tragic event, the passing of her mother, Bridget Boyle, in 2007, just 2 years before Susan rose to fame on Britain's Got Talent. The loss of her mother deeply affected Susan, as she expressed in an interview with the Mirror. She shared how the loneliness crept in after her mother's death, leaving her with only her cat Pebbles for company. Susan described the feeling of losing her mother as a part of herself being taken away, impacting her confidence significantly. Despite the grief, Susan found strength in her mother's unwavering support for her musical talents. In another interview, Susan revealed that her mother always believed in her abilities and encouraged her to pursue her dreams, even when success seemed out of reach. Susan credited her mother's belief in her as the driving force that kept her going through numerous auditions before her breakthrough on Britain's Got Talent. Despite her incredible success, it's important to remember that Susan Boyle did not win the 2009 series of Britain's Got Talent. She came in second to the dance troupe, Diversity. Understandably, given the high expectations, she took the loss hard when she didn't receive enough public votes. Reports surfaced that Boyle had thrown water at the show's floor manager while saying, "I hate this show." Later that evening, police were called to her London hotel after staff reported her unusual behavior. Boyle was then admitted to the Priory, a mental health care facility, to recover. According to the Evening Standard, UK media regulator Ofcom was considering launching an investigation into the show's conduct, as it had received complaints that producers had ignored Boyle's vulnerable mental and physical state leading up to the final. The chief medical officer of the Priory told the Daily Mail that producers had failed to fulfill their duty of care in helping Boyle cope with the pressures of fame. During an appearance on GMTV, show judge Piers Morgan suggested that the star's sudden fame would have been challenging for anyone to handle, stating, "Nobody has had to deal with the kind of attention Susan has had. She has gone from obscurity to being the most downloaded woman in history." In 2013, Susan Boyle had to give up her only indulgence after being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. The Britain's Got Talent star had already demonstrated her ability to abstain from eating chocolate after giving it up for Lent. However, she was compelled to permanently eliminate the sweet treat from her diet for the sake of her long-term health. The condition, which Boyle manages with medication, once again affected her life 7 years later when the COVID-19 pandemic struck. People with diabetes were considered to be clinically vulnerable to the virus and therefore faced a higher risk of complications if they tested positive for it. Consequently, diabetic individuals were advised to shield themselves during lockdown. In April 2021, the singer told the Edinburgh Evening News, "I have diabetes, so I have tried to stay indoors as much as possible. Catching COVID-19 would not have been a good outcome. I was warned, so I've not taken any chances." Boyle confessed that she had found the lockdown period challenging, stating, "I've had days when I felt low or stuck in a rut, or bored of staring at the same four walls, but everyone's been in the same boat." In 2010, Susan Boyle experienced a frightening situation upon her return home from recording a charity single. she discovered a teenage intruder on her staircase. Despite the fact that nothing was stolen after a thorough check, the incident understandably left the famous Britain's Got Talent star feeling shaken. According to a friend who spoke to the Scottish Sun, Susan is physically unharmed, but she is clearly very shocked by what happened. The intruder fled past Susan as soon as he saw her enter the property. Subsequently, a 16-year-old suspect was apprehended by the authorities, although he was ultimately released without facing any charges. 2 years later, Boyle faced another intrusion. This time, it was a devoted fan who attempted to follow the singer into her room at Liverpool's Hope Street Hotel. The man had been waiting for her to return from her performance in the musical I Dreamed a Dream at the city's Empire Theatre and continued to pursue her when she ignored his request for an autograph. A source informed Mirror the level of attention she was receiving from fans was overwhelming, especially considering the recent incident at her home. The last thing she needed was someone attempting to enter her room. Susan Boyle, after facing difficulties settling into her new home following her rise to fame, made the decision to return to her childhood family residence. Regrettably, her homecoming was met with disapproval from some individuals in the community. A number of local teenage boys expressed their discontent towards Boyle shortly after her return. Reports indicated that Boyle was chased to her doorstep, had stones thrown at her, and was targeted with firelit paper. Despite these challenges, the resilient Scotswoman refused to back down. In an interview with Mail on Sunday, Boyle asserted that she would not be intimidated by such actions. She emphasized the sentimental value of her childhood home, stating, "It's where I grew up with my mum and dad, and it has memories. Why should I relocate due to a group of immature boys, who at 15 years old should know better?" Fortunately, not all residents in the neighborhood engage in such antisocial behavior. Boyle expressed her appreciation for her caring neighbors, describing them as a wonderful group of individuals who always support her and ensure her well-being. Following her breakout performance on Britain's Got Talent, Susan Boyle was bombarded with inquiries about her love life. Fortunately for the media, the singer was more than willing to address the questions, even though there wasn't much of a story to tell. In fact, the Wild Horses singer openly confessed to the Mirror that at 48 years old, she had never been kissed. "If someone even gave me a peck on the cheek, it would be nice, but I've never been that close," she admitted. "My parents didn't want me to have boyfriends, so I've never been on a date." However, in an interview with the Daily Mail 2 years later, she disclosed that she had actually had her first boyfriend at the age of 25, much to her father's disapproval. "All that talk about never being kissed is false," she stated. Nevertheless, as she shared with OK magazine in 2020, Boyle wasn't actively dating much in her later years. Her most recent romantic encounter, at that time, hadn't gone smoothly either. "I went on a date in America 6 years ago, which lasted only 45 minutes. I had a massage at a hotel spa and met a doctor, and then we had lunch. I didn't inform anyone, and my team thought I had been abducted." The star mentioned that while romance is appealing, she simply doesn't have the time for it. "It's still nice to be asked, though," she remarked.